guys, this is Kevin Davidson, your host for Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective, and this is episode number 84. It is the last day of January 2025. The weather for the first time in about 2 to 3 weeks is beautiful outside, no snow and no rain. So I always have to start off the podcast by saying that if you are a real estate agent or a vendor that operates in the Fort Wayne County area and you want to be on the podcast, give me a call, 832-654-0527, or email me at kevin.davidson@stewart.com, and we'll get you on the program. And as always, I couldn't do the podcast if it wasn't for Jennifer Smice, the area vice president, Caitlin Cornick, Devin, Anna Ditmore, and Kate Cannon in the Richmond office, all the escrow officers here at Sugar Land and Richmond, and our support staff. So if it wasn't for you guys, I couldn't do this every week. So now that all that's out of the way, let's get started. Today I'm going to start off with the vendor on the podcast and then go to the agent. But today is Mr. David Rodriguez from Interlinc Mortgage, whom is, despite what anybody says, my favorite mortgage guy and a friend. And we've been working together for what, maybe 7 or 8 years.
About 7 to 8 years,
7 to 8 years. He started helping me out when I was back in property management, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about anything. But we both started working together, sponsoring events and sponsoring your events, and you sponsor my events, and life changes and things happen. And 7 years later, he's on the podcast. So why don't you introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Glad to be here. My name is David Rodriguez. I'm with Interlinc Mortgage Services. I've been in the business 25 plus years in different roles. Started out as an originator, became a regional vice president, and decided to get out of the corporate rat race back in 2014 and got back into loan originating. Should have never gotten out of loan originating, so that's my first love. Been with Interlinc 14 years. I can't believe it's been 14 years with this company. It's been a really good,
so I've known you
really
for
good
half
run.
of your career,
Right?
literally.
Yes, half of my reintroduction into loan originating and not managing.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Interlinc Mortgage. You own your own office in Interlinc company, or are you a franchise? How does that work?
I'm a branch office of Interlinc, and I run my own P&L. It's not really a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Interlinc's been around since almost 2000. We're a full service lender. We can service our own loans. We lend in about 16 different states. We're able to, either pool loans together and sell them off after we close them. That's usually referred to as a correspondent lender, but or we can also decide to keep a loan in our own servicing portfolio.
Okay. Tell everybody, let's talk about the current market that we're in. What's your take on it?
We think that the current market is starting to come to life. January is typically a slower month in mortgage or in real estate as a whole. And we think that 2025 will be a better year than 2024, but not by a whole bunch. We're not expecting to see rates dropping down into the 4s or 5s. If we're lucky, we might see sometime much later this year, we might see rates pushing 6.5, maybe 6. We think that even getting down to 6.5, that's going to be a catalyst to encourage people to get back out in the market now, since we've gotten past the election and the inauguration and all the holidays.
I think that people, at least from my perspective, are getting back into it because this month, January 2025, for us, is going to be better than it was last year, 2024.
That's encouraging.
So, and we're steady right now, incoming contract, 2 to 3 a day in each office. So that's an encouraging sign. If it builds like it always does starting in March and then goes into the summer, it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't have a bad year last year.
Right.
We actually looked at the numbers and we performed, or at least Sugar Land and Richmond performed better than the expectations. Everybody knew that it was going to be a bad year, but and we started off this year doing even better than that. So
We did in my group, when you compare 2023 to 2024, we actually increased our business by about 10% from 23 to 24. And if we can do the same thing from 24 to 25, if we can maintain that 10 to 15% increase, we'll be happy with that.
You've got to be happy with that,
Yeah.
The way things are today. Tell everybody some of the different types of products that you have available to your clients.
What's good about our industry is more and more of the non-QM space is becoming a much larger part of the production. But let me kind of back up, and I'm going to touch on that. We pretty much do all of the mainstream lending, FHA, VA, USDA, Fannie, Freddie, jumbo. Those products are the bulk of the production out there. But what's growing more and more and more is the non-QM space. And when I say non-QM, that means it's a loan that does not fit Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA guidelines. A good example of that, of what we're doing, is for a self-employed borrower, if they have a high enough FICO score, we can do a 10% down loan, and instead of using their tax returns, we can use 12 months of bank statements to calculate their income. Because the common thing we see with self-employed borrowers is that, yes, they may be making a lot of money, but they might have a good CPA also that, the way they do their taxes reduces their net income, which then reduces their tax liability, which is good for business, but it's not good when you see a mortgage guy. Another example of what we're doing out there is, let's say, a self-employed contractor. Let's say a good example, like in Houston, somebody that's self-employed would be like a contractor would be like a owner-operator, somebody who owns their own over-the-road diesel truck. A lot of those guys, they own their truck, so whoever they're working with, they 1099 them. So if you're a 1099, you're self-employed. So that person in the non-QM world, if he writes off too much on his tax returns, we're able to use his 1099 only for doing a non-QM loan. Another example of what we're doing that's outside of the norm is, again, for self-employed borrowers, if we can't do a 1099 loan and we can't do a bank statement loan, then we can do what's called a P&L only loan, a profit and loss. So we'll ask them to get from their accountant or CPA a 12-month profit and loss statement, and we'll use the net income off of that profit and loss statement to calculate their income for qualifying. We just kind of got into that not too long ago. It's been around for a while, but we just got into it, and I locked my first deal and turned it in a few days ago.
Oh, nice.
And it was a situation where, we turned a no into a yes because that deal wasn't working with the tax returns or the bank statements. So we looked at the P&L version, and so we're should be closing that loan in a couple of weeks.
So let's bust some myths real quick. We're on the podcast. If I have subpar credit, and you will define what subpar credit is, not me, and or I am short on down payment funds, can I still buy a house? Can I still get a loan?
Yes. usually our answer for that is somebody that needs to get in with as little amount as possible and may not have perfect credit.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect vehicle for that is an FHA loan.
Okay.
I mean, FHA has been one of the best programs out there for housing since its inception. So a good example of that is on an FHA loan, the down payment requirement is 3.5%, and the minimum FICO score depends upon what lender you're talking to. With us, we can go all the way down to a 580. So
Really?
that's far from perfect credit. It's not horrible credit, but it's far from perfect.
Right.
To take it a step further, we also can do a down payment assistance loan, let's say through TSHAC, with as little as a 620 FICO score, and they can, and again, it's an FHA loan, and they can get anywhere from 2% to 5% down payment assistance. And under that program, you don't have to be a first-time buyer.
And then 2% or 5% that you get as down payment assistance, do you have to pay that back? Is it rolled into the mortgage, or is it a grant?
It's forgiven after 3 years.
It's forgiven. Oh, okay. So you don't have to pay it back.
Right.
Wow. Okay. And can you buy a house with no money down?
With absolutely zero, like going into a dealership and signing, no.
Yeah. You're going to have to bring
You're
something.
going to have something. Typically, what we do is we will, if somebody's in that situation where maybe they only have $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000 saved, they can actually buy a house. Because what we do at that point is we'll either get them a 3 or 4 or 5% down payment assistance, and then we consult with a realtor to let the realtor know, well, you need to negotiate 2% or 3% or 4% seller contribution when you submit your offer on the home they like. So the combination of the seller contribution and the down payment assistance will, in some instances, result in them getting part of their earnest money back. So, but you can't come to the closing table with you can't get into a real estate transaction with no money.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about, you've been around for 14 years, you said?
14 years originating, 25 in the mortgage business.
So in the 14 years you've been with Interlinc, how do you grow your business? How do you get leads? What do you do to generate business?
A lot of that is because of you.
I understand that, but before I got into the picture, and social media, website, marketing, networking,
it's marketing, networking, it's all of the above. It's a little bit of everything, but at the end of the day, face-to-face meetings carry the most weight. Yes, we embrace technology and social media marketing and direct marketing, but 95% of our business from my group is realtor and builder. Realtor and builder referrals, because of the relationships that we've formed with doing this sort of thing. And then the rest comes from our past client database that we heavily market to.
Referrals and stuff.
Yes.
Friends of friends that you've done with.
Yes.
And yes, David and I have been working together a lot. So what he's talking about is, you'll sponsor my classes, I'll sponsor your stuff, or we'll sponsor the same event, and we're just meeting people. And I'll say that probably 98% of any real estate agent that asks me what lender I would prefer them use, I know I'm not supposed to say this on camera, but I'm going to, I refer them to you.
Thank you.
I might refer one or two to Nas, because that they might be from the Middle East.
We like Nas.
Yeah, we like Nas. She's cool. But for the most part, and you handle it, and you take care of their business, and everybody's happy. So, is there something that and I know this might be hard for you to answer, but is there something in the future that you might want to do marketing-wise to grow your business that you're not doing right now? Something you knew you'd like to try?
More of this.
More of this, really?
I don't do...
You want to create your own podcast, or you want to be on mine more often?
On yours more often. That's the easiest way to do.
He doesn't have time for a podcast.
But
okay, nailing this guy down for lunch is a month-out project, okay? And I'm a busy guy.
But more videos and stuff, informative videos where people can, let's say go to YouTube or listen to a podcast and get useful information that could help them.
So you've been listening to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the number one way to market anything today is video.
Yeah.
So if you have a cell phone and you have a YouTube channel, you're good to go, man. Just get all that stuff up there, and then you can use the YouTube links that it gives you with the videos you post up there as your content for your social media pages and your blog page on your website. So let's talk about this real quick. If I am Mr. General Public, and I need a mortgage broker, or I need a loan for a house, and I find you or get referred to you or whatever, and I contact you, what's the first thing I can expect from David Rodriguez and Interlinc Mortgage?
A phone call where I'm going to ask a bunch of questions so I can determine what your goals are, what your time frame is, and what your urgency level is. Whether you have a home to sell or whether you've got a lease that's about to expire and you're needing to move. It's basically a 15-minute, 20-minute exploratory call where we're going to determine what your goals are, and then we go from there.
And if there are any red flags or hurdles that you got to get over to get that particular person where they need to be able to qualify a loan, are you willing to help let them know what those are and help them with those?
Absolutely. That's always part of what we do. Life happens. Not everybody that comes into us has an 800 FICO score and they can do 20% down and have 6 months of payment reserves in the bank. That doesn't happen very often. And life happens, people get sick, people lose a job, people get divorced, maybe somebody in their family passes away, and so they might not have perfect credit, or they might not have a perfect job history. But what we do is roll our sleeves up and figure out how we're going to help this person get over the finish line. And if that means we have to explain your job history correctly so that the underwriter accepts it, or if that means that we've got to do a few tweaks on your credit so we can get you from, let's say, a 590 to a 620, so that you can qualify for more programs, or if we want to get you from the mid 600s to over 700 because we want to get you the best rate. All of those things are things that we do. In fact, we've got software where we can run the credit profile through the software program, and it'll tell us if all the things are in place. It'll tell us exactly what needs to be done in order to raise the score, and it'll even give us a forecast of what the scores would go up to. So,
nice.
I mean, we're here to help. We're here to be a consultant and to figure out how to get people over the finish line, like I said earlier.
If you're thinking about buying a house and you think you can't qualify, or you think you don't have this or that or whatever, call David and find out, don't assume. Let him tell you. He's the expert. Let him tell you. It's his money. He's lending. Let him tell you what you need in order to be able to qualify and the programs that you can qualify for. Don't assume that you don't qualify. Call and find out. And if you don't, then he'll tell you what you need to do so you could qualify and when. And if your goal is to own a house, buy a house one day, then do what he says and you'll get there.
That's so true. I've had conversations with people who were of their own thinking convinced that they couldn't buy a home, and they run their scenario by me. I'm like, well, no, you can buy a home. Yeah. What? So I encourage people, even if you think you can't qualify, to apply and send in your income documentation, and let a professional take a look at it and render an opinion on what the feasibility is of getting approved.
Yeah, you guys are not the expert at mortgage. He is, so let him to make that decision, and he'll tell you what you need to do if you're not. So tell everybody how to get a hold of you, phone number, email, things like that.
Yep, I can do that real easy. It's David Rodriguez. Cell is 713-819-3031. Again, 713-819-3031. The email address is davidr@linkloan.com, and Link Loan is spelled with a C. It's lincloan.com.
Yeah. So guys, if you know me, you follow me, you work with me. I don't let just every vendor that wants to be part of my programs be part of my programs. I've been working with David for it's probably been 7 or 8 years. We don't know exactly, but it's been a while. If he's here, if you see him at my events and doing things with me, then I would, if I needed a loan, I would use him as well. So that says something. So if you need somebody that you can trust, I trust him, and you can call him and he'll help you with whatever you need. He also speaks Spanish.
I do. Yep.
So prove that to him. Say something in Spanish.
Hola, mi nombre es David Rodríguez. Llámame al 713-819-3031. Gracias.
Proof in the pudding. So I don't know what he said. Give me your phone number one more time.
713-819-3031.
David Rodriguez with Interlinc Mortgage. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a quick break and come back with segment number 2 of episode 84 of Kevin's Corner Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective. We'll be right back. Bye. Hey, everybody. This is Kevin. I'm back with segment number 2 of episode number 84 of Kevin's Corner Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective. And I have what I'm going to deem as a special guest on the show today, or the podcast, because this gentleman is a new friend of mine. And he's never been on my podcast or any other podcast. So go easy on him. No bad remarks on YouTube. Okay, guys?
I can take it.
Yeah.
I work in real estate.
So this is Rishi Naran from eXp Realty. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yep. So my name is Rishi Naran with eXp, leader of the Naran Group. And our group is just 2 people. So Mom and I. She's in the mentor. She's been the guide in all this stuff. And, she's got a lot of experience in the industry, so that helps us navigate this market, where the first question you get from a person is, how long have you been doing this?
Exactly.
And when I say 4.5 years, they say, oh, but my agent's been doing it 10. It's like, well, my mom was my partner. She's been doing it 18.
There you go.
So
now we got it 22 years.
Exactly. So it helps us with some of that, but more importantly, she's seen everything. And I think today, in today's market especially, everybody just on a society level is so short-term focused that they forget that this world we live in is cyclical. It goes up, it goes down, it gets busy, it gets slow. You have great years, you have horrible years, but it's all just a cycle. And you have to keep everybody, clients especially, even keeled during that time, because they're going to think that it's still 2020 and they list their house and get 50 offers in the first 5 minutes.
2025 is different.
Exactly. It's very different.
Yeah. So what were you doing before you decided to become a real estate agent 5 years
so
ago?
I started off my career, I'm a big sports fanatic. So I used to work for a bank, and I worked in, on the partnership side there. So, I'm not going to go into the details of the people I've been with, but, I have worked on some of the bigger events in the world, and with some of the biggest athletes, on the planet. It was a fun experience, a great job for my 20s. It was a good passion for a good job for your 20s. It's a lot of work.
It fueled your passion.
It fueled it, exactly. It's a lot of work. The pay isn't the best, but the rewards are endless. But at the end of the day, I decided I wanted to chase my entrepreneurial dream. I always wanted to own my own business, run my own business. So we do currently own a few other businesses around Houston, laundromats, etc. But really, for me, it was always about helping people. That was my main passion. So with real estate, what more can someone do besides make the biggest financial decision of their life, essentially, in most cases. Yeah. So we're here to guide them, and that's the rewarding part. It's seeing the kids run around the room excited, choosing the room in the house. That type of stuff is what fuels our team, really. It's not about the next check. Obviously you make a living in life, but it's about the other moments. It's how we can be the best resource for them and create those memories and create that environment to create those memories, I should say.
Yeah, I truly believe that money is very important, but it is not the most important thing.
No.
And when I learned that, going from my younger years to my older adult years, when I learned that,
right,
I became a lot more happier in the job that I was doing every day.
Right.
And people will learn that as they get older, and you were younger, so money wasn't that important. It was more to have some fun with the athletes and all that stuff, and in your job. Now you're a little bit older, and you go, okay, money's a little bit more important, but not the only important thing.
Right.
But now you get to make more money and make yourself happy.
Correct. I think it's the balance, right? You have to create a living. You have to do something that you enjoy. You have to do something that fuels you. It's not just about go to work, get a paycheck, come home. It's about having that everyday motivation of here's why I do this. And, I think that there's a book called Start With Why. That's
I think
the
almost
key.
everybody in business has read that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the key. Why? It's almost when I have nieces and nephews now, and everything you say, why? But it's a good place to be. You have to think about what you're doing. Is what you're doing the right thing, the wrong thing? Why are you doing this?
And when you're a child like that and you're asking why, you're not wondering if it's the right or the wrong thing. You just want to know, why do I got to do that?
Exactly.
I want to go over here, and you're making me go over there.
Right. Exactly.
What? So you've been an agent for about 4 years.
Yep.
Over the last 4 years, what kind of agent have you decided that you liked the best? Are you a buying agent, selling agent, leasing, investing, all of the above?
Yeah, I mean, we really do focus more buying, selling. I think we've had better success as a team with the buyer's agency side. However, we do enjoy the listing side more, if that makes any sense. I think that being able to walk into a home and figure out how to get this thing sold is fun, and so we do a bit of both, investment side, leases. We've done leases as well too. I will say I feel like leases are a lot of work for a lot less.
Even the difference between buying and selling houses are a lot of different.
Exactly. But again, for us, if we're not comfortable doing it, we're not going to do it. That's kind of number one. But we're not just going to say it just to get a deal either. We're very strategic in what we approach. We don't take every listing. We don't take every buyer. We want to, we're not trying to just be that massive volume team that has millions of clients right behind us. We want to make sure that we have the right clients who we can provide the right service to as well.
So you have happy clients.
Correct. So then we can do what we do best, which is provide great service and great attention to detail.
So tell everybody a little bit about, you're with EXP.
Correct.
What's EXP all about?
Yeah, I mean, I started off at Realm right across the street here, and that was a great starter. And then I moved over to Coldwell Banker, which is more of the larger brand, more brick and mortar style. And then we ultimately made the decision to move over to EXP. And I think with EXP, again, if I could predict the future, I'd be doing something completely different. But from what I've understood of EXP, it does kind of set the future. Some stuff for the future. There's a lot of change in the industry, commission lawsuits, this, that, AI. There's so much changing that the traditional brokerage model may or may not fit everybody in the future. And I think for our team and how we're structured, having this style of brokerage works for us. I think, having obviously something that's set for retirement's key. We do some stuff on our own, but with EXP, they have that in there. The part that's been the most shocking has been the camaraderie. I didn't expect that. Yeah,
because there's no brick and mortar buildings anymore.
But I feel like the camaraderie is incredible. And so there's a lot of really good agents in there, a lot of people to bounce ideas off of. I think I've seen a lot more collaboration here than anywhere else as well, too. You can ask anybody any question, anytime, and they're going to answer it.
I was with a bunch of EXP agents last night.
Right. Yeah.
So, do you go to EXPCon?
I didn't go last year. We had family stuff. I'll plan to go this year, though. I went to Build the year before over in San Antonio, right before I joined EXP, to see what it was all about, and that was a good momentum as well.
Yeah.
I think for EXP, the marriage of technology, camaraderie, all the tools you need, the backing of having a massive brokerage, whilst also being able to essentially operate as your own team with that backing has been a really good partnership for us. Again, it's not for everybody. I'm not going to be like every EXP agent. Hey, recruit, come on. Now, if you want to come in, give me a call. But at the end of the day, it's not for everybody, but it is a great model that I think can fit the future of what real estate can look like.
Especially, from my perspective, because I work with a lot of real estate agents,
right,
helping them grow their business,
right,
and EXP is a great brokerage if you want the backing, but you want to be able to grow your own brand,
correct,
and do your own thing.
Correct.
Because a lot of those bigger brokerages, they don't want you doing that.
No, they want their logo to be the biggest one out there, and there's nothing wrong with that because they have that history to earn that. So there's nothing to bash somebody about that.
No, but
but it's not, like I said, it's not for everybody. Obviously I'm wearing my logo nice and proud. I want to grow this logo, and I want that backing of a bigger brokerage to walk into meetings with clients and say, oh, who are you with? Oh, okay, great. And not go, who's that again?
Right.
So.
Right. Or you're with X. Who are you again?
Right.
You want people to recognize you as well.
Right. Exactly.
So what part of, I'm sure you'll help anybody anywhere or pretty much anywhere, but what part of Houston do you consider yourself to be the expert?
Yeah. So Fort Bend County for sure. I remember that we've been here our entire lives. We've been here when, the Fort Bend County Fairgrounds, sound on where Sugar Land Town Center is at this point. We were here before the mall was built. Remember the tornado hitting the mall back in the day. There's been a lot of changes over to Fort Bend County. We grew up in Sugar Land. My parents still live in Sugar Land. I live in Siena in Missouri City. My sister lives there as well too. So we're really
born in Sugar Land?
I was unfortunately born in Dallas, but don't tell people that too loud.
Hey, I was born in Dallas too. By the way, he's an Aggie fan.
Yeah, exactly. That too. Just knock. Yeah, the door's over there, right?
Yeah,
no, but yeah. So I was born in Dallas, moved here when I was 3 years old. So this is home. This is for as long as I can remember. Houston's home and Sugar Land's home. So Fort Bend County is really where our expertise lies. Really up and down 99 as well too. But we have been here long enough, and because of my previous jobs and what I do, we drive the city all the time. So there are very few areas we aren't comfortable selling in. If we aren't, we will say it. We're not comfortable here. We're going to refer that one out. But in general, most of the city we're comfortable with, and we keep up to date with everything too. And it's rare we walk in, meet somebody today and tomorrow, hey, list my house here. Most things take, a few months to nurture and develop. And so by that time, you've done your research if there are any questions on there.
Yep. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about you've been an agent for 4 years. Your mom was an agent for 18 years. Now you're a team.
Yep.
Over the years.
Yep.
What are some of the ways that you got leads? You grow your business.
Yeah. So a lot of our business comes through our network. We make the calls. We've built our relationship with people. They know us, like us, trust us. A lot of referrals that way as well too. We do post on Instagram, nowhere near enough. I struggle with content. I'll be open about that.
I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah, and this is what he's gonna help me out with. So but at the end of the day, a lot of our business is coming that way is through our network and our referrals that way. We obviously open houses too. I'm working with the buyer now that I met in an open house a couple weeks ago. So open houses are obviously key. We do a lot of open houses when we have listings. And yes, an open house is to get people in the house. It's also for us to find buyers. And we'll be open about that. So those two avenues have been the most beneficial to us. Now, going forward, it's time to diversify that a bit and add more ways to get consistent clients.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you think you might want to try in 2025?
Yeah, we've done some farming, but I don't think we've done it well. I honestly don't think we've done farming well. I think there's a lot more new technologies and opportunities in that space to farm areas we know well. That's kind of one. I've bought leads in the past. It's a waste of money. No offense.
You need to buy leads.
Exactly. Cold calling again. I think that's also a little bit of it's a futile effort, really, because they're getting a million calls. And then, but really, and I think for us, it's a consistent social media presence as well, too, between the consistent social media presence with the right content, not just content for content's sake, and a mixture of farming along with our network. That's going to be the way forward for us.
You said a word that I did not preempt you with. You used the word consistency. I don't care what marketing you choose to do.
Right.
If you're consistent, eventually it will work.
Right.
If you're not consistent in anything you do, don't complain you don't have any leads.
Right. Right.
You just can't do one thing one time and then sit back and wait for the phone to ring.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I'm glad you used that word.
Yep.
Those are some great things. The other thing I might want to add is, or actually there's two. One, whether you are or not already using a CRM.
Yep.
And number two, video.
Yeah.
The number one way to market anything today is video.
Right.
And people tell me all the time, well, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. Get over it.
Because they're going to see you that way anyway when they see you in person.
Exactly. People don't care about that.
Right.
I want to do business with somebody, or I want to meet somebody for the first time that I've seen on the internet, that when I meet them, that's who I are meeting, who I saw in the advertising, I saw in the video.
Right.
If you're a politician online, and then I meet you in person, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because people's personalities work together depending on how their personality is.
Right.
And if I see you as one kind of personality on the internet, and then when I meet you, you're completely different, I'm going to be disappointed.
Right.
Because it's not what I expected.
Right.
So people tell me all the time, I don't like this, I don't like this. I don't care.
Right.
And well, what are people going to think? Who cares?
Right.
Who's responsible for paying your bills and putting food on your table?
Right.
Not them.
No.
And 9 times out of 10, if they're criticizing what you do, it's not because it's bad. It's because they're jealous.
Right.
Because they're not doing it themselves.
Right. Exactly.
So it's a mindset thing for me.
It is.
And when agents ask to come get my help one-on-one, and I meet with 2 to 3 agents every day.
Yeah.
And there's 2 things that I tell you got to learn. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks.
Right.
And do everything simple, stupid.
Right.
Okay, because people don't read and they don't follow directions.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make sure that when people see your marketing, that your message is clear,
right.
They know what it is they're looking at, and that when they see your brand, they know who you are.
Right.
If you can accomplish that, just wait.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we're going to fix him. He's going to come. He's going to set a date on the calendar and come hang out with me. So
absolutely.
When someone comes to see you for the very first time, you've never met them. However, they got your name and number. What can they expect? A lot of people, when they go to try, I mean, you said earlier, the largest expense they're ever going to have is buying a home.
Right.
I'm already nervous.
Right.
Now I got to go talk to somebody I've never ever met before.
Right.
What can they expect?
Yeah, I think number one, it's you look them in the eye. I think that's step one. Today's world, everybody's like this. Everybody's like this. I mean, you can see people's backs around it, etc. It's like this. Look somebody in the eye for a second. That alone is like, oh, wait a second. They're focused on me. They have this. They have that. Now my attention is on them. That's number one. So that gives a little bit of trust and focus right off the bat. 2, you acknowledge the fact that it's going to be a big purchase. You tell them straight that this is a big purchase, but our expertise is here to guide you. You give them the calming feeling. And lastly, I think this is where a lot of my frustration sometimes with this industry come with other people saying things to make people feel good, where you just have to shoot it straight. You can't. You have to be very honest about things. If somebody's budget's $300,000 and they only want to look at $800,000 homes, don't take them there, because at that once you take them to that first one or show them that first YouTube video, they're never going to buy a house with you because their benchmark is here and their budget's here.
Right.
And so you have to be very open, very honest. Talk about the process, coach them, guide them. But at the end of the day, step one is look them in the eye, shake their hands, and give them that focus and time to understand what their questions are, get to know them, who they are, remember their names, because that's...
Which I'm terrible about. Oh my God, I'm terrible.
It happens open house. And you walk out, hi, and you remember the husband's name, not the wife's, or vice versa. And you go, nice to meet you, and you shake one hand. Other person, nice to meet you. Yeah, you know it.
You too.
Exactly. So, you know, just be direct with them, but be calm with them, and be confident. That's the biggest thing here. Because if you're on your phone and looking, they're gonna say he's not interested in working with me.
And last question before we wrap up the podcast: what is one thing about you that they should know that they don't?
Whew. It's one thing they should know about me. Not work related or work related.
Either one. It's your
Okay.
podcast, man.
So
It's about
if
you.
we're going work related on this one, is that, you know, my mom and I work as a team, and there'll be two of us involved in every step of it, even if one of us, her or I, depending on the transaction, are not fully visible. That's number one. So you have two people. When you hire one of us, you get two of us at the same time.
2 for 1.
Exactly. It's a 2-for-1 deal.
They don't have to play 2 commissions. Though, do they?
No, just
All
one.
right,
Just one. We'll split that on our end. Don't worry about that. And then, kind of personally, I think, yeah, I'm just a family person. You know, between my wife, my almost 11-month-old daughter, my dog, and our household, or you know, the rest of my family being 5 minutes away. If we're not working, we're pretty much together as a family, and that's where we'll be. So,
family man.
and last thing is travel. I mean, I think I've learned more traveling than anything else on the planet. I don't care what podcast or book or anything you read. Go to a country, go meet the locals, immerse yourself there. You'll learn so much more about everything else than any book or podcast or YouTube video can teach you.
I've been to 8 other countries, and every time I got home, I was glad to be home.
Yep.
But I've always been thankful for the experience because almost everybody that I know in my world didn't get to experience that.
Right.
And so that's one thing that, you know, so yeah, you got to travel. You got to go. Life outside of Houston is so much vast.
And outside the world. I mean, I remember, you know, when I was younger, and I wouldn't take vacations here or even in the U.S. My vacations would be overseas somewhere.
Exactly.
And it's important.
It grows you. It expands you. So.
Oh yeah.
So Rishi, tell everybody how they get a hold of you. Give me your phone number and your email address.
Yeah. So my phone number is 281-772-2968. My email address is Rishi, RISHI, @Naran, NARAN, properties.com. Yes, Naran is spelled the same forward and backwards.
Good, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how you get a hold of me. And on Instagram, we are narangroup.houston.
Awesome. And are you on Facebook or LinkedIn or anything?
Facebook is the same one as well, narangroup.houston, and LinkedIn is my name, Rishi Naran.
Awesome.
I don't post enough on LinkedIn. I need to.
Next time he's on a podcast, he's going to talk about all the stuff he's been posting. Give me your phone number one more time.
Yep, 281-772-2968.
Thank you very much, Nisi.
Thank you.
And by by happy birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
Thank you.
Right?
I appreciate that. Yep.
He is a ripe old 23 years old. No.
Add a few to that, but we'll go with it.
Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate
Happy birthday.
Yep.
So that was episode number 84 of Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective. Again, like I started out at the beginning of the podcast, if you're an agent or a vendor and you watch the podcast and you operate in the Fort Bend County area and you want to be on the podcast, call me, 832-654-0527. And again, I could not do this podcast if it wasn't for Jennifer Smidas, Caitlin Cornick, Devaney Devon, Anna Detmore, Kate Cannon in the Richmond office, and all of our support staff. So if it wasn't for them, I couldn't do the podcast every week. And last thing is, like I always say, if you need title services and you are in Houston area and you're not using Stewart Title, I will find you and I will call you.
You will find you.
You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.